The Beach FM Business Lunch Show, brought to you by PlaceMakers Kapiti and Horowhenua. Together we're building New Zealand.
Welcome back to the Business Lunch Show on Beach FM 106.3 with Damian. Well, we all knew it was a matter of time before I got some sports talk on this show. So what better to go to the CEO of the Horowhenua Kapiti Rugby Union. Welcome into the show, Corey Kennett. Kia ora, Corey.
Kia ora, Damian. How are we going?
Yeah, very well, mate. How are you guys doing at this time?
Yeah, very good. Very, very good.
Awesome, mate. Well, why I reached out, and I've already told you why I reached out, is I wanted to get a sports perspective on the show. Like we've had everyone from supermarkets, lawyers, accountants, how even a funeral director. So and you guys are a business. You're not just someone that turns up and does the hard yards like the grassroots level. So what kind of setup is the Horowhenua Kapiti Rugby Union?
So the best way I can describe it is so we're basically a co-op. We're owned by a group of shareholders and stakeholders, and those shareholders and stakeholders are everybody in essence that's involved with rugby. So we have, as defined by our constitution, our membership are our member clubs and affiliated associations, which covers secondary schools, primary schools, Māori rugby, referees, Saturday morning or junior club rugby, and of course the clubs. So our basic framework or setup, if you like, is we're a co-op that is set up to service and provide rugby products for our rugby community and our wider community. From a financial perspective, yes, we are a business, but we're a non-for-profit business, and our raison d'etre, if you like, our reason for being is we want to be able to provide as much rugby services as we can for our community whilst showing good financial behaviour and prudent financial management, i.e. Not losing money.
It's a good start, at least. Hey, mate, when I got into sports journalism, I personally thought I'd always have work. I'd always have something to talk about at least. And then sport was taken away from us. So how did you guys manage? How was the change for you guys? Did you guys get a chance to sit back, take note, and adjust how you work?
Yeah. You're talking in regards to the COVID situation?
Yes.
Yeah. So look, if we split the two major parts of our business, which is around the financial framework and then the actual delivery or the occurrence of rugby services. If I talk first and foremost around finance,
yep.
We've got really good financial structures that we've had now for well over a decade. We're very proud of the fact that we've posted 11 consecutive surpluses, which shows that we have a secure model, and in essence, it is this simple that we live within our means. And if we can't afford to do something, we make the tough call. We say we can't do it. We be honest and upfront, and we do not lose money. That's our statement. And so when COVID hit and everybody was in a very, very tough situation, we were fortunate that through our strong systems, we'd already been able to, we're quite far down our revenue generation cycle for the year.
Right.
So we had that part was okay in compared to some people. And I don't think as a provincial union in New Zealand, and in particular Heart Union, you can never go past the fact that New Zealand Rugby Union does an amazing job in supporting grassroots rugby financially. And so our funding from NZR, we had a 15% reduction, but we're able to secure all of that. So the upshot, brief synopsis of all of that meant that we were relatively stable, looking towards we were going to have a difficult year, but we were stable. On top of that, we have existing reserves, so if we were to have an annus horribilis, we were still going to be able to be alive and operate. So that side, finance, okay, we're all right, which means a lot of our programs and operations can continue. Separately, on the field, on the grass, of course, it was driven by forces outside of our control. Were we even going to be able to play rugby this calendar year? And that was the big question, of course. That was for sport in general. And as it started to evolve, it's just amazing how everybody joined in the positivity. How can we best come out of this COVID situation so that we can provide rugby? And it's just been a great experience of positivity coming out of a negative generated situation. And so everybody has bought into the kaupapa, and rugby is happening in every area that it has last year. That was our goal. It was a lofty goal. And we're extremely confident. We've got a few areas yet to tick off, but it might be slightly different, but it's going to happen.
Absolutely, mate. How did HK had to? A lot of businesses have had to pivot, and I know co-op business. I'm using the term the same, but how did you guys have to pivot and adjust to your going forward? I know you had the reserves. I know you had a good setup, but this doesn't come around every day. And how has it changed your focus going forward?
So a couple of bigger occurrences that were once again outside of our control happened with the cancelling of the Heartland Championship.
Yes.
Although we were involved very much so with NZR in the deliberation and construction of that decision, the cancelling of the Heartland Championship and the cancelling of all representative rugby. So we run 15 rep teams, and included in that is the Heartland team. As you can imagine, that comes at significant cost. We're very proud of the fact that if you play for any of our rep teams, it doesn't cost you $1, and you're fed and given some apparel and transported. So there is significant cost to that that was taken out of the expenditure side of our accounts. So we pivoted, and to use your term, and moved. We already had a good solid structure, but then the expenditure side of that helped mitigate the loss of revenue, primarily in the charitable trust and sponsorship sector.
Yeah, without pubs, without pub charity, or without even sponsors' confidence, have you seen a drop in? I know you were already at your kind of round before the season, but have you had any rumblings of how people are feeling out there going forward with your sponsors?
Yeah. So I suppose it's best described as there's polar opposite experiences. Our principal sponsor, Horowhenua Motors, was telling the other day that they're going great guns. I've got friends that are contractors in certain services that are having are busier than they've ever been, is what they're telling me. But yet we can see other stories, especially around tourism, where people are, if they're not already closed, they're so close to it. Advertising, marketing, and sponsorship is pretty close linked to that. It was definitely a casualty. But in the sponsorship side of things, we've got a fantastic group of sponsors. I call them our 30-second sponsors because that's how long it takes for them to come back on board every year. A 30-second conversation, and we've just left it with them. We've touched base and say, look, later in the year, if you wish to be part, that's fine. If you don't, their business and their families mean more to us than their financial contribution, and we just hope to keep our relationship going with them in 21 forward.
Absolutely, mate. And the last big question on my mind is numbers, mate. Did we see any numbers drop off? You talked about a lot of people mucking in and doing their part, and I think grassroots sports is always going to have that. But was there any fear of people getting back out on the track, or was it too much excitement to get out there?
It's quite funny. Every now and again you see just a massive bolt of positivity that it's quite hard to explain. But we've got, right at this second, more people playing adult rugby in 2020 after COVID than we did in 2019. How you wouldn't pick so that, right? I was speaking to the clubs, and we're getting good crowds. People are enjoying their footy. The competition's tight, and we got more people. Look, we're going to have areas. Our major areas are we have non-contact areas of rugby, which is your ripper and your rip rugby in primary school, secondary schools. We have contact at primary school, secondary, tackle rugby. We then have junior club, and we have adult club. So we got more adults playing rugby this year, and we haven't run our women's competition yet, which is scheduled to come later in the year. So still that to come in. So junior club, I hear that might be a little bit down. And that's sort of understandable with the shifting of windows, that sort of thing. But we think that, amazingly, our projection are that we might end up about the same as last year. So if we're able to come through this year, not be in the financial abyss, be able to have relatively the same amount of people playing rugby, and to be able to enjoy the positivity that's out there, then I just think it's been quite a unique and amazing experience.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. And I have to add, a lot of businesses over the last few months that I've been talking to them have really worked on their online game. I know you guys you didn't have to because your website's so easy to follow, but you know, with a joint venture, we've introduced streaming to live grassroots rugby. And do you think that could be more of a thing for grassroots rugby throughout the whole country?
Well, look, our experience, you know, with Umbrella Media and yourselves has just been fantastic. I spent 13 years overseas. I got friends contacting me overseas about how they're watching people play that they follow and clubs that they follow, positive comments about the high quality of the product, the accessibility. I'm at grounds and I'm watching someone score a try, and there's the classic discussion: was it a forward pass? Wasn't it? Did he ground it? Didn't he? I see them grabbing their phones and hitting the rewind 10-second button. The interactive part of it is quite amazing, and so look, that's yet another amazingly positive experience on what's come out of what could have been a very gloomy year. So the streaming has been absolutely brilliant. I've had nothing but a landslide of positive feedback about it, and it's just great to be a part of it. And obviously without Umbrella Media and your quality commentary and your guest commentators, Damian, it wouldn't have been the same. But I'm loving, just on that part, I'm loving seeing the guys rock up, and you know, these guys are just good buggers, good club rugby buggers that jump in, and it's great seeing that local connection and then doing some gentle ribbing, you know, of the guys they know. So that's just been yet again another really positive experience.
Absolutely, mate. Hey, I have to share. We were at Foxton or Wakanai the other week, and we had a shout out who was watching, where they were watching, and we had the Davies watching from Wales, of course. Now we found out that they were watching their son play his last game, because we found out in the club rooms afterwards that he was back to Cardiff the next day. So his parents got to watch his senior club rugby game in New Zealand. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh, it's amazing. I think I was listening to yourself and Hori do the commentary at Ahui the weekend. I understand there was someone from either Switzerland or Sweden. I think I've got that right. And you know, that's just amazing. Awesome. And it's brilliant, you know, and being able to connect them and so that they're showing interest in HK area rugby and their particular clubs, and also their players of interest. Just absolutely brilliant.
So good. Well, mate, I appreciate your time to share and talk about everything that's been happening with you guys over this period. Go well, mate. I look forward to continuing working with you guys, and enjoy the rest of the season. Yeah,
thanks very much, and just a big shout out to everybody that's given up their time this year, the players, the coaches, the volunteers behind the scene. None of this would have happened without their input, and it's very much appreciated, and it's great to see what rugby can do when they get together. So thanks to everybody for that, and go the Mighty Nua.
Go the Mighty Nua. Corey Kennett, CEO of Horowhenua Kapiti Rugby Union. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, bud. No problem at all.